G'day guys and welcome back to AdosTheGreat YouTube channel. So guys, in today's video we'll be going over how I went in round 22 and then I'll be giving you my round 23 tips for this weekend's footy action. So starting off with last Thursday, we saw the Panthers go down to the Storm. Solid game here for the Storm, but yeah, I thought the Panthers would get this one done. So a bit disappointed about that. Back the Bulldogs, the Warriors here. A lot of people, especially on TikTok, they came at me saying that, this was a bad take. Honestly, at Mount Smart, the Warriors are a different beast. Then I took the Bunnies over the Eels. I wasn't overly confident about this one, but I probably should have been because my Rabbitohs were on fire. So I was very proud of the boys for getting a good win there. Next up, the Roosters beat the Cowboys. A bit of a controversial game, but I think the Roosters were always the better team. I didn't think the Cowboys would win in Sydney. They don't play that well here. They have won a few games, but not too many. So, I thought the Roosters would get the job done, and they did there. Sharkies had a good win over the Tigers. I think most people predicted that one, as they would have the Broncos over the Knights. Another game that was pretty sort of easy to tip was the Raiders beating the Dragons. Very entertaining game of football, not the best quality, but still quite a good game of footy to watch. And then finally, I backed the Sea Eagles by 18. The Titans won by 20. That was a crazy game on Sunday afternoon. I don't know what's going on with Manly at the moment, but I think there's a few issues within the club that they might want to sort out by the time next season starts. All right, round 23. Let's go over it. Starting with Thursday night, we've got the Bunnies up against the Panthers. I am hearing that Campbell Graham, Tom Burgess, and possibly Jed Cartwright could be back this weekend. However, Latrell Mitchell is under an injury cloud. He did injure his groin at training, but it's expected that he will play this weekend. So I've got to tip my Bunnies. I've got to back them here, and 68% of people agree with me. I think they're just in really good form at the moment, and if they didn't lose to the Sharks, we would have been on a really good run, and we still are. But that did dent the run a little bit. Next up, Cowboys and Warriors at home. Cowboys bounce back, and I reckon bounce back well. I'm going to go by 24. Broncos and Storm. I reckon this is going to be a lot closer than what people think. 76% of people are going with the Storm. I think at some court the Broncos are going to be a tough team to beat, and I'm backing them. Tipping the Broncos here, arguably an upset, but I think they can get the job done against the Storm. All right, we've got women in league round as well, so I will give you my tips for that. Roosters and the Eels. I like the Eels here. They're a fresh team in the league. I think they're going to play their heart out, but I'm going to back the Roosters. Here. I think the Eels, while they are kind of fresh to the WNRL or the NRLW, they just, I don't know. I think the Roosters, they're a really tough team in the NRLW, so I think they should get a win here, but I wouldn't rule out Parramatta. Right, next up, Parramatta and the Bulldogs. I think this is going to be a cracker of a game. A bit nervous for Parramatta because they were a bit off against the Rabbitohs, but I think they should bounce back with a good win there. Manly and the Sharks. Before last week, I probably would have tipped Manly, but I've got to go Cronulla. Cronulla are just on a different streak at the moment. They're absolutely killing it. The only game they've lost recently was to the Panthers a while ago. So I think Sharkies win this one and win it well. Next up, Roosters and Tigers. I think Roosters win this and win it well as well. First of our Saturday games, we've got the 12 o'clock women's game. Dragons and Titans. Classic game here. It could be very entertaining. I do think the Dragons, I'm pretty sure they've recruited quite well in the Women's League. So I am going to tip them, but you never know. The Women's League is crazier than the men's. Like, anything can happen. Upsets happen a lot more frequently, so I can't wait to see what we've got in store for us this weekend. But I think I think Dragons get the job done there. On to the men's second last game of the round. Dragons and Titans. All right, this is tough because the Dragons were not good last week. They were all right, but they weren't great. Titans played really well against Manly, but that was at home. So away, I think the Dragons do get a win here. I don't see the Titans winning this one. Knights and Raiders to wrap up the men's round. Look, the Raiders should win this one, but I'm not confident. I'm not confident in that. You know, you don't know what you get at the Knights with the Knights at home. They could turn up and absolutely put on a show for their fans, but I just can't go past the Raiders here. And then finally, Knights and Broncos. I think the Broncos win this one, although the Knights made some nice signings, I've heard. Obviously, I don't listen too much to the Women's League. I love watching the game, but having kept up with the off-season and stuff like that. So, let's go over my tips once more. Rabbitohs to beat Panthers 1-12. Cowboys to beat Warriors 13+. Broncos to beat Storm 1-12. Roosters Women's to beat Eels 1-12. Eels to beat Bulldogs 1-12. Sharks to beat Seagulls 13+. Roosters to beat Tigers 13+. Dragons Women to beat the Titans 1-12. Dragons Men's to beat the Titans 1-12. Raiders to beat Knights 1-12. And Broncos to beat Knights 1-12. There are my tips for round 23, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Thank you all so much for your support. And as always, guys, I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.